Okay, so now we have a very new specimen, 1963 D nickel. The 1963 nickel, actually, if we go back to 1866 to present, is 75% copper, 25% nickel. Kind of cool. And during, looks like during wartime, back in 1942 to 1945, it did actually change that it's a manganese, but that's not this nickel here. But let's look at this guy. So again, this side is called the obverse, and the other side we call the reverse. This nickel, however, we can see a lot of surface wear on it. Really, the relief is really worn down. The hair, there's no detail. I mean, it's really flattened quite significantly. Also looks like there's some damage on the edge and the rim here. Wow, yeah, right here is a little bit of pancaking going on. And no, that's not a technical term, pancaking. Let's flip it over. Oh, I apologize. Switching gloves because my previous gloves actually were staining this background material, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, if you look here, wow, that is like all the details gone. When we look at some more better conditioned nickels, we can see that is really, wow, that is, I mean, even the term, the words 5 cents is so faded. United States of America faded. There's the D denomination for the Denver Mint, which again, as noted earlier, is the most, they make the most in circulated coins. I'm going to try and flip this guy over again, and we're going to take a look. We're going to zoom in. Obviously, this one is definitely 100% not worth grading either. Don't need an AI to tell me that. But we should have a cool journey looking at under the scope here. Look at that, isn't that amazing? Look at how much it's just been flattened here. The T in trust, you can see like how a little mashed down there. How the rim is just flattening in to it. Interestingly enough, you'll notice that on the field, not a lot of, I think there's just a little hair there, I apologize. That's not a lot of scratches really. It's almost been flattened down, but when we look at the relief on the face here, the hair detail is pretty much like gone. That's all blown out. A little bit of chemical damage there and there, or environmental damage. Wow, that is just fascinating. Look at that, little squish down there. Some dirt, but I'm fascinated by how the lettering has just been completely worn down. This nickel, again, 1963. I mean, we're 2026, so you're talking, we'll do some quick math here, probably easily 50 years of circulation. And you can see how the metal just gets kind of flattened, kind of fading into the field, which is the background. And right here, oh, look at this. Wow, this is cool. If you look at the width of the rim there, and by the way, this rim, you see this edge, the way they make it's pretty neat. It's a machine that actually rotates the planchet, and then it makes this little edge that you see here, this kind of beat up edge, but it makes that edge. Extreme amount of pressure too, by the way. But here, notice how the edge kind of changes thickness. This coin has seen a lot of circulation, a ton of circulation. That is really cool. And some more environmental wear right there under the "We in God We Trust." You can see it kind of really flattened over there. It's kind of neat. Let's flip them over. If I can flip them over. With this. The reason I wear gloves, by the way, is I don't want any chemicals to get any oils from your hand to get on the coins. And yeah, in this coin's case, kind of a moot point. The coin's so beat up, I don't think it has any any grading or air. I don't see any errors on it. It just looks like a really heavily circulated nickel. But still, pretty cool to look at. I mean, just look at how worn out that is. That is so wild. When we look at some nicer nickels, I think on the channel I have some previous videos of much better, where the relief is in much better shape nickels. But look at how worn out that is. It's just wild. This is just probably from being in people's pants, being in people's purses, or coin wallets, just kind of being beat up, just hitting other coins. Just really wild. The level of just wear. Now let's zoom in. That in focus. Wow, that is so wild. Look at that. That's just, I mean, you can barely, I mean, the letters are almost fading into the field here. I mean, look at that. Just completely worn out. That is so wild. Here we see a lot of micro scratches again. These to me look like just the scratches you're going to get from the coin hitting other coins. But look at that, how the rim is just getting all mashed up there. Just D for Denver Mint. Just look at that. Isn't that amazing how... You got to remember, the force that was required to make this engraving was in the hundreds of tons, and yet just the day-to-day wear has slowly worn down the metal. Matter of fact, if we were to weigh this compared to a brand new uncirculated nickel, I would imagine there would be quite a significant, well, I should say significant, but there would be quite a delta in the difference between the new and this. The actual metal is actually worn down. It's a really, really interesting specimen. But still worth, the cool thing about U.S. currency is this is still worth a minimum of 5 cents, regardless of the condition. So even though it's so beat up, it hasn't lost any of its representative value, which is kind of a neat side note. But again, lots of, you can see there, lots of damage. Wow, this coin just had, I mean, I think it'd be amazing if these coins could tell a story of where they've been and who's handled them and what they were used for. It would be quite the amazing journey it must have gone through. But look at that wear. Just amazing. And again, this also, I think, speaks to the resilience of U.S. currency. The fact that it looks like this, and yet still you can make out United States of America, 5 cents. I mean, look at that damage. That's wild. We'll run it through the AI to show you guys, but this is going to be one of those no-brainers. It's not worth grading. So here we are back in Gemini. Uploaded some images of our nickel friend. And again, I'm going to say not worth grading. We're running it through thinking mode. It's the engraving is just so worn out. It's just not going to be worth grading. Okay, go 1963 nickel D. There we go. 75% copper, 25% nickel. The obverse, which is we talked about the front. Significant wear, yep, especially in the high points, absolutely, particularly in Jefferson's hair and cheek. As noted, the hair is pretty much like gone. The fields in the background show high volume of contour, blah, blah, scratches, yep, saw that. The reverse side, which was the bottom, we saw, whoops, sorry. Heavy wear, especially in the Monticello verbiage, correct, yep. Luster, yep. Lacks its original luster, well, that's for sure. This is an interesting little side bit. We talk about coins, you're talking about the rarity really determines the value. And here we see here it's saying 276 million of these coins. So this is really, obviously put in bold there, do not grade, 100%, super. So even, this is a great example of if this coin wasn't so prolific, if it was rare, like let's say there was 2 of them in existence, then even if it's in its current condition, you would want to grade it in a second. But it shows you why not really worth grading, because it's just in horrible condition. But still, really kind of a fun to look at it, kind of see what happened. And again, this speaks to the engineering. Think about it, the metallurgy and the time and the effort and the research that was put into the making of the coin and the alloy of it, that it really, over the amount of time of its age, it's still pretty good shape. So it's pretty impressive. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we have here a really cool 1964 D. D is for the Denver Mint, again. It makes this coin really cool. It's right here. You'll notice that rim and edge are just dented, just really kind of a interesting dent. We've got some dents up here next to Trust. Even here next to Liberty there's some denting. This penny has got a lot of dents on it. Let's flip it over before we zoom it in. Show you the reverse side there. Looking actually pretty good. The thing that I want to really point out about this one, notice how this has so much more clear, the punch here, the engraving in the field. Let's take our more interesting side here. So let's zoom in. Let's see what we can see. All right. Well, first off, you'll notice a lot of micro scratches here in the field, and then obviously this massive dent right there. Here's a big dent. A little bit of corrosion there as well. If we take a little tour, a little bit of environmental damage right there. Number is actually pretty clear, but the big part of the show here is this massive, absolutely huge dent. This coin, by the way, is 1964D. Didn't say earlier, is, I'm going to reference my chart here. 1964 is 95% copper, 5% zinc. So this coin is almost pure copper. That is just an absolutely amazing amount of damage. And this looks like something pretty intense caused this. This looks like more than just jingling around a change purse or somebody's pocket. Something pretty big must have hit this penny. And we had another dent up here. Yeah, right here under Trust. You can see another little bit of a dentage there. Lincoln's face also has a bit of damage right there and there and there. There's just a ton of damage on this penny. Now let's take it up. Let's take a look at the reverse side. We saw this before. So now let's zoom in on it and see what we can see. Also, quite a few scratches and dents in it, but not the thing I want to point out with this penny that makes it kind of cool is that you'll notice if you're looking at the reverse side as compared to the obverse side, that dent you saw is completely not visible. So this is a good, I'm going to flip it over while it's under a microscope here. This is a great example of if you're buying a coin on eBay or something. Here you can see there is a massive, that is an absolutely huge dent right there. That's a massive rim and edge dent. But the interesting thing I want to point out is you'll see here this kind of shadow. That's actually the coin, the copper. And when you look at the reverse side, sorry, I'm going to hit my scope here. When you look at the reverse side, you completely don't see it. So if I was to put this on eBay, and let's say you have some unreputable seller and it just shows you the back of the coin, it shows you, hey, look at the coin, it looks great, the rim and the edge look really pretty solid, you would not see that at all. You would not be aware that that dent exists. So it kind of shows you that you can have damage on the obverse side or the reverse side and not on the other side. So don't assume that if the back looks good, then the front must look good. If the reverse looks good, then the obverse must look good. Not always true. This is a great example of that. Coming into the AI, should we grade this coin perspective, I'm going to say no. It's got quite a bit of environmental damage. You can see a lot of tarnish to it. The luster is pretty much like gone. This coin has been through something pretty massive to cause that kind of damage. Very cool specimen, though. I like that I was able to show you, the reverse side looks like this. Again, we do a little trip around the rim here. And if I flip it over, it's hard to flip coins, guys, with wearing gloves. Put this guy here. Just look at that. that massive dent. You know what? I'm going to try and do something for you guys. Let's get closer. I'm not really certain what the maximum zoom I can do on this setup, but I'm going to take it down quite a bit closer. That's pretty tight. And I'm going to see if I can zoom in for you. Hold on, I'm going to move the penny over. And let's see what the scope says. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, that's awesome. Look at that. Oh, look, just look at that beautiful... I know, well, of course, I get excited about damage to coins. Just look at that. It's amazing. I mean, the amount... I don't know if I get my little tool in there. Just look at that dent. I mean, I love how the reverse side is perfect. I mean, look at that. It's absolutely no damage to the reverse side, but the obverse side is definitely... I would be, honestly, just from a purely root cause analysis perspective, I would love to know what caused this kind of damage, because this is just so darn specific. I mean, it hit... I'm looking at the reverse side, and you can look at the arc. It's perfect. It's like, it's such a bizarre... You know, usually when you see a dent in a coin, you expect to see the whole rim and edge just banged in there. But no, not here. Just like a perfect reverse side. The obverse side is just trash. Here's another similar. It's almost like the beginning of the same type of damage under trust. You can see... Let me get my little tool here. You can see how it's starting. Fascinating damage there. And here too. Similar under we. God looks okay and okay. Oh, there we go. There's another example. Look here. Same. Less pronounced. Less pronounced. Sorry, it's hard to do this with a scope like this, guys. I know, it looks like a little furry guy. It's actually a dental tool. Just fascinating. There's also a little chip in the copper there, but look at that. Isn't that just wild? I'm sorry, geek out on that. That just fascinates me what hit this coin. I think part of this channel, which I hope you guys like, that I like personally, is just to be able to see, you know, I'm fascinated by what caused, you know, the root cause of things and just looking at it. I honestly find it fascinating to look at an old damaged coin more than a new shiny coin. They're beautiful, but they're also kind of boring in the fact that here it's got a story to tell. Anyhow, let's run it through the AI. Okay, so in the AI, I'm going to ask it, is this coin worth grading? Again, I'm going to be pretty obvious predictor here. I'm going to say no. Obviously, it's got a lot of damage to it. So let's see what the AI says. Here we go. Showed you that dent. I hope you guys really enjoyed the obverse was really like crunched in there, and the inverse, or the reverse, sorry, was like perfectly clean. So just keep in mind, if you're looking at coins, you know, on eBay or something, be very aware, hey, you know, make sure they show you the obverse and the reverse side too. Okay, we're looking at 1964D, Lincoln Penny with a Denver Mint. Okay, color, again, slightly reddish brown. It's 95% copper, 5% zinc. Visible signs of circulation, you think. Light scratches, debris. Okay, it's not going to point out the massive dent in the coin, seriously? Wait. There are visible signs of circulation, including light scratches, some surface debris. Are you kidding? Oh my gosh, AI is mental. I'm sorry, guys. This is insane. The coin lacks a red brilliance. And yeah. I'm honest. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I do this. This is not rehearsed. I do this AI. I like to do, you know, my honest reaction to what I'm seeing, and this is insane that it's not saying, "Wow, massive dent in the coin." Looks pretty bad. Yeah. So you know, I run it through the AI. Just kind of show you guys what it is. This is kind of cool. I like it's giving us a little chart of value. You know, estimated value, 2 cents to 5 cents. Yeah, not even worth, obviously not worth grading. You can see circulation over 3.7 billion of these were minted. which is absolutely insane. Yeah, you're not going to grade it for $20. It's going to cost more than $20. But anyway, absolutely 100% agree. Not worth grading. Nowhere near. Yeah, do not grade. Yeah, duh. Kind of interesting though, just to give you guys an idea. Even when you're using like AI or something to like you have your coin collection, using these. There's a lot of apps for your phone you can use. Take it all with a grain of salt. Here we're looking at, this is a paid version of Gemini, not plugging Gemini. I use chat as well. But it didn't, didn't mention the massive dent on the obverse side of the coin, which is absolutely crazy to me. I thought that'd be like the first thing it says. Oh, by the way, massive dent. So take it with a grain of salt. AI is not perfect. It's not that it's making a mistake. It's just, this is the way it is. It's not, I'm not going to go into like the details of how they, train the large language models and all this other type of stuff and the visual models and matrices and all that stuff. But suffice it to say that this, Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, whatever you want to use, whatever AI you use, or any other of 1,000 other AIs out there, I'm not aware of one that's exactly trained on coin grading. So, take it with a grain of salt. If it tells you it's worth grading, if like Gemini does, then absolutely grade it. But otherwise it wouldn't. So anyway, kind of cool. Hope you like this coin. And now we're off to the last coin.